So let's put it in perspective, because again, we're gonna go back to pressure and the diamonds and the beauty that pressure creates. These young individuals who are dealing with the pressure of the train yard, electrical currency, right? Police, dark environments. You know what I'm saying? Like you said, their parents not even, you know what I mean? So they on. You pressurized by time. I got an amount of time to do this, that, and the other, or I might lose my life. But you're also focusing on putting up your best piece of work.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Your life on the line.
Your life is on the line. Your name is on the line, and you're still looking to put forward all of that to edify your status in the community, to be seen as a marginalized individual. I'm not even gonna, say or show you my name. It's gonna be in color. 30 feet big if need be. You know what I'm saying?
That's right. And that was the attitude.
And then they are executing the precision of the geometry, right? These are the things that I'm waking up to as a child, looking at these trains, and every day it's a different piece. I lived for that. As an artist as well. I'm a visual artist. Me and my brothers, like, how? It was so confusing. Like, what? You seeing trains go by with masterpieces.
Literally.
You feel me? With masterpieces. And you're like, my people created this under stress and duress. What can they do when they don't have pressure on them? Who are we? And this is all being signaled to me as a 3-year-old, as a 4-year-old, as a 5-year-old. I was born in 1975 in the Bronx, New York. So only thing I've known is hip hop. And then, later on in life, I'm able to revisit these things and put things in perspective. And I'm like, who were these people?
Right.
How?
No, who are these people?
Right.
Because it's the same energy. We're still talking the same. We are part of the same group.
Continuum.
And it's like, what, the same continuum. We are.
The energy's still rolling.
And thanks to you, it's rolling right up to right now. Right up to right now. The energy is here right now. And you got to think to yourself, you said a key thing, who are these people? Who are we? When we say these people, who are we?
All right, peace and love to the family. All praise due to the Most High. Thank God for another day, the greatest day ever.
That's it.
And what better day could we have than to be sitting here with two of the greats, I greatly appreciate y'all coming in, tapping in with us, and, welcome to 2020 Vision Talk, where we sit down with some of the masters, some of the visionaries of the culture, and I'm a student. I'm a master student is how I see myself. Yeah. So I'm sitting down to, do whatever I can to gain more clarity and bring more clarity into the vision of the people, especially those who are open and looking to be the next generation of leaders, movers, and cultivators of the culture. So, yeah, I'm just a young world changer like y'all, and I'm just absorbing all the good energy and essence, and, I'm going to take it and run with it and make sure that the ones coming behind me know who came before me, So if we could, like I said, I'm a master student. One of the major things when I went on my journey to reconnect with who I am, who we are, that knowledge itself, I realize we come from a village culture, a village community, that collective community mentality. And one of the major things when we bring it into a ceremony or experience that we coming together for, we got to pay homage and we got to welcome in the ancestors to be the foundation of the conversation. So, brother, if you don't mind, if you could lead us in the libations, however you see fit, however you flow with that.
It's interesting you mentioned that because everything you just said was the libation. You should have just poured the water right there. But I will take the opportunity to acknowledge life, which is what the essence of libation is. We offer it to the ancestors to give life to the ancestors, to bring them into the conversation. But it's life itself that is the point of the libation. It's always best to have something living, like a plant, like water, fire, earth, or ourselves.
For sure.
Always best to have something living when pouring libation. So in this particular libation, I would just and also I would ask you guys to also include yourself in this libation in this way. I ask for heightened awareness, heightened health, love, awareness, and wealth. At this table, and for everyone listening to us in the sound of my voice right now, the ancestors are with us. Others that we don't necessarily know in the room right now are with us. We acknowledge them. We acknowledge our revolutionary ancestors. In fact, they are literally behind us. These images on the wall bring their spirit forward as well. I like to include them into the libation.
Ashe.
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 Lastly, before I just go around real quick, let me also shout to the hip hoppers that are not here. The names are too numerous to mention, starting from Scott LaRock all the way up to most recently, who is most recently? No, I was gonna say Coolio, but no, I just heard someone else the other day. But let's just say from Scott LaRock to Coolio and everyone in between. Let me bring them into this conversation as well and acknowledge them as well. Ashe.
Ashe.
Some words in libation.
Yes, we understand water to be a transmitted utility for spirit. So we acknowledge, the fact that water is not terrestrial to this plane. It's what we consider to be extraterrestrial, comes from many different regions. So even through the water, we want to acknowledge the many places that this water has traveled to get here, right? It's a cosmic conference, and we are mostly composed of it. So as we, like you said, make libations to our ancestors, we also want to edify our internal composition, which is composed of water as well. So, as Bruce Lee said, yes, like water, Ashe.
For sure.
You end us.
Well, look, I'm gonna just throw in some of the leaders, the pioneers that came before me, starting with some of my bloodline, which is my grandfather Eldridge Page. He was a major figure in the community, and I grew up in the church community, and there was a lot of people that pushed the church initiatives on the people through the words and through the regular traditional means, but my grandfather was one of the few. Although he talked a lot, he was about that action, so when it come to what would Jesus do, he was in the jails. He was in the dope house. He said he would go in the dope house. He wouldn't stay long, but he would go to make sure they felt this love and knew that they weren't forgotten. And he see them itching and going about his business so they can get back to doing what they do. But at the same time, that love was planted on them. So from the politicians to the church to the jails, Eldridge Page. Yes, indeed. So big homage to him. And then just some of my major ones, Malcolm X for sure. On the Marcus Garvey.
For sure.
Booker T. Washington. And I could keep going on and on, but Ashe and love to all the ancestors and those who, keep fighting every day. So Yes, indeed. So that felt like a great grounding. Oh, and this the other thing I be usually do before the libations. Let's get these 3 breaths in real quick. So 1 deep breath together. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. And 1 more deep. Inhale. Exhale. All right, there it go.
There you go. That felt good.
That felt great. Feel like I'm floating with the masters right now. So look, with no further ado, let's get into the conversation. 2020 Vision Talk. Today we will be talking about hip hop as a culture. And we'll round off the conversation with hip-hop as a nation, what that looks like and where we going with that. But if you could, lay some foundation to what's like the parents as far as historical figures or historical movements that birth what we know as hip-hop. I know you one of the, originals, but there was, ones that came before you.
A lot.
And there was things that generation grew up on that before hip hop was even a thing, they were taking on this essence and energy that was flowing through their community, flowing through the airways, whether it be in soul music, disco, jazz, or what may be, Break that down for us. What's like the parents? What birthed hip hop?
Well, there's a long and a short answer. The short answer is God. That's really the only example we have for the real birth of hip-hop. Hip-hop proves the existence of divine intelligence. That's the short answer. Here's a longer explanation.
Can I say divine intervention as well as divine intelligence?
Oh, yes, indeed.
Because, a prayer was answered. I'll leave it at that.
Oh, yes. Don't leave it at nothing. Get right in it. No, because you're real with that. That's right. That's right. Divine intervention.
Yes.
What was going on in the hood at the time required divine intervention.
Like when they be like, you keep digging and you'll end up in China. You can only get so low until you get so high, and then hip hop was birthed out of the soil that, absorbs those tears and that blood and that sweat. And, create an answers to show I have provided you with everything that you need, even if it looks like it's strewn about, right? Internally, you have it, bring it out. Maybe it was for the dismissal of distractions, right? You ain't got nothing shiny to go and engage you for your intention. You only got you and the elements. Make use of it, and look what was brought forth. To show those individuals was always the one to begin with. But they couldn't see it because of, the distractions. Just coming into integration, I have a saying that says, the way that you condition the people is you play this concept that you got something that they want that they can't have access to. So if our people were only used to looking at their color TVs through the window of their house, like, you on the outside looking in, even if the house is burning, you still want to seat at the table because you feel that you finally got access to something that you've been denied for so long. So hip hop came on the cusp of, integrating. We imagine if we were given all of the spoils of what integration may have entailed, hip-hop may not have come about. The children would have not been outside like they not right now. So I look for the silver lining in all things. And like you said, the evidence of divinity in all things amongst the divine people who were able in their state of desperation to create what I consider to be a divination path. Now, you have been the model I've used in my lectures across the world to say, because they say, brother, what's the divination path? And I say, in a traditional sense, it would be the binary aspect of yes and no's. But I say when we look at hip hop is the only platform in existence for melanated men in particular that, one day you can go from a situation in one night, and then at the end of the night, you can be God. So society will have you believe that you are less than like a subspecies to man, and you go in that Latin quarters and you open up them vocal cords and you leave as a god and never look back, and you did that overnight. So that goes to show that, you know, this is a pathway to divination where man can become quote unquote God in a heartbeat. You feel me? No other vocation, no other station, no other platform provided that out for us to get in contact with our, you know, creative force without any intermediaries.
You know, this is a great place to start, because that idea of divine intervention, and then everything you just said right there, the situation we were in proved our divinity. Most people shirk at hard times and struggle. But in our situation, we had no choice. We were born in it. This is what it is. This is the reality. And what I find remarkable about hip hop, I'm gonna get back also to the question. We gotta jump down now. But what's being said here is very important to preface this. Is that imagine a group of people, okay, this is the proof of the divinity right here. And this is where we have to start, or we lose the point. It becomes just a commercial thing. That before anybody was, before we even thought that money could be made with this, our parents were praying and visualizing and chanting and doing all types of stuff so that their children would not have to go through the oppression that they were facing. Most times when you look at the history of spirituality in a lot of different places, you look at their history, this one's history, God always comes to the aid of the oppressed. Always. It's like nature has a way of balancing itself. When a couple of either people, regions, species, when we start to lose and go out of balance, nature itself corrects the situation. You mentioned earlier about a vibration, about energy, this energy. This is precisely what it was. This is what people forget all the time, this part right here, that hip hop came to us as energy. This was the original, it was a feeling. In fact, the early moves of electric boogie, boogaloo, popping, ticking, all of this was an expression of the energy that you would feel.
Convulsing.
All of the muscle movement, the sliding, all of this, all energy, moonwalk.
Movement of energy.
The movement, this is what it was. So when you look at this, you say, okay, what is the mother and father of hip hop? What we shouldn't do, and make sure we don't do, is look at our culture through the eyes of colonists. Meaning that when you look at your culture, when you're looking for yourself and you're looking for your culture, be clear that you are not looking through the lens of imperialism, colonialism, because that's all we have as an education, for instance. So if you're looking at your history or the history of something, the colonial approach to history is object-based. Geographical landmass, people, textiles and clothing, gold, resources, trees, animals. This is how history is looked. This is the lens by which we're looking at the past, through the eyes of military people, colonial-minded imperialists. They only see objects. Hip-hop is not an object. Hip-hop is a subject. You can't go to hip-hop yet. Technically, you can't eat hip-hop, you can't drink hip-hop, you can't put hip-hop. Hip-hop does not exist in the physical world. Hip-hop is a shared idea. We all know it. We all see it. This is why it's so difficult to contain hip-hop, because it's an idea.
It's an idea.
Right.
It's an idea. So when you say the history of, say, hip-hop, or who is the mother and father of hip-hop, let's put the colonialism aside and get out of objects. let's come over to the fact that hip hop is a subject, which means it's in superposition. It doesn't have a linear, like we say in folklore, 73 Cool Herc,
Right,
74 Bambaataa,
Right.
75 this, and we keep going Flash and everybody else. That's what we call the folklore. This is what we agree upon.
Right. That's the linear descent.
The linear descent.
Right.
Right.
So you're saying that hip hop doesn't move in a straight line; it's more circuitous.
And it was always here.
It was always here. It's
So-
in multi dimensions.
Hip hop exists in the cloud.
Yes, it does.
Yeah, because like you said, it's an amorphous idea that it does not, until it manifests, until we bring it down, until we tap into, for lack of a better term, what's considered like an egregor, right? Until we tap into that and materialize it, like you said, until that energy convulses, the evidence of which is showing through the convulsion of the body that the energy is moving, and then it manifests, right? And then you identify it or call it that thing.
Right.
But it comes from source.
That's very important that you said that.
Right.
That thing. We now name that thing.
Yeah.
Oh, that's nice right there, because that puts the clarity on it. Before we get to names.
Right.
Before we're talking about raw energy, no form, no space, and outside of time, which means that, for instance, the elements of hip hop, let's just say the core four, breaking, MCing, graffiti, or DJing, just the core four. These elements are seen all over the world, all over human history before we started to call this thing hip hop. So these elements, so for instance, say history of hip hop. So we can't say just Africa, although I would say, of course, hip hop is African, straight up and down. Hip hop is black culture. Come on, this is what it is. But no, in a conversation like this, where you're discussing the actual essence and existence of a thing, the actual existence of it, and the fact of it. When we're starting to talk that, you have to look at hip hop for what it is. It's not material. It's not here. It's a shared idea. So now as a shared idea, I can see my history in everyone's history. I could find hip hop in ancient China. I could find hip hop in ancient Kemet. I could find hip hop in Russia. I could find hip hop in the 50s. I could find hip hop in Japan, Nagasaki, Hiroshima. I could find hip hop there. It's not about the answer being out here because that's object based. The answer is in here because the subject is subject based. So you have to say what hip hop is. And so you say, like you said just now, that energy, it has no name, no space, no form, no nothing until we become it. Now when we get that energy and we become hip hop, I am hip. Now hip hop is real in the world. It's real as us. We manifest it. We bring it into the world. So the history of something like that is you have to develop a global consciousness, or should I just say a more expanded consciousness, to see your story in superposition in multiple places at once. And based on what you want to see is what you focus your history in on. For instance, Ronald Reagan, I always say this all the time, Herc is always repeating this, that Ronald Reagan was a DJ. President Ronald Reagan. One of his first jobs was that he was a DJ. He was DJ Dutch.
I wasn't ready for that. I ain't come here for that. I ain't know that was a part of it. Like,
right. This is what it is. This is just some outrageous. Okay, this is what it is. But if you look at our elements, DJing, MCing, graffiti, breaking, graffiti, right? Just look at DJing. Now, if you tell the story of hip hop, you would start DJing with Kool Herc, Bam, Flash, and so on. But if you look at hip hop if you look at hip hop for what it is, an idea, character, way to be, feeling. Ronald Reagan being a DJ, actually, he was at Davenport, Iowa, 1934, WORD, KROC. It was a chiropractor's radio station. And this dude was on the station as telling sports, playing music, and a little bit of news. This was one of his first jobs, learning how to speak publicly, learning also the news, like how to, this would all lead to his political ambitions. If you're going to teach hip-hop's history in that sense, you could bring up Ronald Reagan, just real quick. Now, he ain't hip-hop at all.
Right.
But he's not hip-hop culturally, I would say.
I would argue. I would say
You're gonna change the history right now.
I would say because I put things in perspective.
No doubt.
Right. Would you lend to me? I wrote a piece called Reaganomics. I lived through the age of terror in the Reagan era. Reagan provided the backdrop that provided the pressure environment that creates the diamond known as hip hop. No Reagan.
No hip hop. You should say no Nixon then too.
I mean, Nixon would, exasperate and start, that revving up or that conjuring. But Reagan would come and be himself.
Oh yeah.
And that was a necessary ingredient for the pressurized environment.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? For hip hop to manifest itself out of, and then, his backdrop, as you're saying, being a DJ. Now vicariously empowering other DJs, you know what I'm saying, that themselves have to find a way, and voila, we get the manifestation of necessity, even me understanding the very integral part that the blackout in 77 played with our family acquiring equipment. The technique changed everything, so that DJ equipment, I think about that picture, that iconic picture of Herc driving around with the two speakers in the back looking like the Twin Towers.
The Herculoids.
So very much so a part of how, divine energy still works through individuals to create what's considered opposition is necessary, that pressure for creation.
That's a broader conversation. That's I would throw that in the folder of providence. I put providence right on there. You're speaking straight up about providence. And look at the situation. And very poetically said, and rightfully said, Ronald Reagan was a DJ who was a catalyst for the pressure. That the hood was feeling at the time. Reaganomics, everybody knows, there's been studies done now on the destruction that did to the urban areas, not just black and brown communities, but just the city. The concept of the inner city was just destroyed. With that. But this is something to think about in terms of, and what are we talking about? Hip hop's history. I'm trying to offer a different take on looking at the way in which to look at hip hop's history. In that sense, to look at hip hop's history for what hip hop is, not for the way history is presented to us.
Right.
So, having said that, now come over to folklore and legend. So there's Kool Herc. You say, who are the mothers and fathers of hip hop in that sense? On this other side we was just talking about, and like you just said so eloquently about Reagan, the true mother and father of hip hop, like I said, is God, meaning circumstances and situations, life circumstances and life situations that are unexplainable by the human mind. Like what you just said right there is unexplainable. Nobody could have said, you're going to be a DJ and later on you're going to become president and you're going to institute these policies that are going to create DJs becoming political and socio-political figures themselves. Okay, nobody knew that. Right. That's why I throw that in the level of providence. Something's looking over us. That's why I go immediately to divinity. However, there's another piece on your question about mother and father. Yes, we could say Kool Herc. Cindy would be considered the mother.
If I might say, though, so even further part of the question was like, all right, so we got in the folklore and the narrative, Kool Herc and the original party that kicked it off. But if that was the party, then that means this has been the thing, this has been going on. It's a part of the community and culture to whatever level or whatever corner of this city it was happening in. And what also created this environment that raised up a young Kool Herc and all the other major figures that were at the beginning of what the folklore started as, what raised them into this environment to realize they wanted to be rebellious or create their own environment or be heard and seen in this way that was a lot of times outside of the box and outside of what was appeasing the elders in the city and government. No, this was like, we don't care about none of that. We don't care about your spelling. We creating our own words. We creating our own name, our own world. What was a part of like developing this mentality and this culture and community, you know, through what raised them and put them in a position of wanting to develop these park jams and this outside of conventional. We doing our own thing. Like,
well, let's unpack that. You said a few things in there, like right away the park jams. Park jams been going on. There was park jams all over the place. But Kool Herc is unique in the sense that he started to pay attention to the breaks of records. This is what makes Kool Herc unique, is that the focus on the instrumental break of the record, to which every time the break of a certain song came on, young people like me would start doing these dances that were really coming, just like mother and father hip hop. We say it's the Bronx. The dances that we were doing, though, was from Campbell, Don Campbell and the Campbell Lock dances, West Coast. Okay, Boogaloo, poppin', all that stuff, right. West Coast. Now, of course, East Coast kids was getting down. Chicago was getting down. This was already in America. It wasn't called hip hop. It wasn't called rapping. It wasn't called graffiti. Breaking, MC, and graffiti or DJing were four distinct cultures. They were individual with their own rules and their own pioneers and their own mothers and fathers. Graffiti writing alone, okay, no one knows who the mother and father of that is, right. But we give the credit to a guy named Cornbread, who is out of Philadelphia. Supposed to be the first guy to start putting his name up with in artistic fashion. He's out of Philadelphia.
Circa what?
60s, wow. Late 60s, Cornbread comes into fruition. Then you got Takey, 183, early 70s, Greek Kid gets his name up, gets his name in the newspaper, graffiti art. Is he a father? That's just graffiti, but they had their whole thing. DJing already happening. There were DJs already. The word DJ already existed. Disc jockey. That's it. You already existed. Plus, there were already people playing in the park as well. Like I said, breaking. These moves are already out. MCing. Famous book, Die Nigger Die, and I have to say nigger, E-R, N-I-G-G-E-R, Die Nigger Die by H. Rap Brown, revolutionary brother, Black Panther. One of his famous books he wrote. In his book, he wrote his rhymes. He put his rhymes in the book. And surprisingly enough, the rhymes he put in the book, he said, I used to say these rhymes in 1954 in Baton Rouge, Louisiana.
Wow.
Okay, his rhymes is in the book. Now, the book comes out in 1969. We start hip-hop in 73. So this was it. We have to make a distinction between the folklore that we all agree upon. And we give respect to this and respect to that. It keeps our culture together. It's tradition. But like all traditions, the scholars go into the tradition and start pulling out facts and evidence. And you come up with an entirely different story than what the tradition is. Now, the tradition is not discredited or not spoken of or any of that. Christmas is still Christmas. Easter is still Easter, even though there's a ton of evidence, okay, to refute these holidays. We still, Thanksgiving is still Thanksgiving, okay? It is what it is. Same thing with all traditions. The tradition is not necessarily the truth. The tradition does not have to rely on fact. The tradition is symbolic. The tradition has to do with our emotions as a group, our collective emotion as a group. Tradition is supposed to make you feel like you part of something. The tradition is the campaign for the culture, the calling card of the culture is the tradition and the legacy and the legend of the culture. We all know the legend, and we all argue over the legend. We debate the legends. But when you really start looking at the facts now, and you say, go back to your question now, what made you want to start your own this and that? Well, first of all 4 of these elements, just say that these top 4 elements, they were already separate. Secondly, we were already marginalized. The whole catalyst for MCing, because we were different. We were marginalized. We didn't dress the way nobody dressed. We didn't talk like nobody. And imagine this. This is not just a black thing, because or Puerto Rican or Italian. I'm naming everybody in the hood. This in the hood. It wasn't about just like that. There was certain types of Puerto Ricans, certain types of black people. All black people were not into this new rap and hip hop breakdance and thing. In fact, they spoke against it. Okay, they weren't. Matter of fact, there's a scene in Wild Style where Puerto Rican, the guy playing Lee, just finishes bombing a train, comes in through the window. His brother's there, his older brother who just got in from the army. His brother comes in, what the hell are you doing? And it shows the contrast between the same community. Puerto Ricans. One Puerto Rican is a soldier, upstanding, sending money home to his moms. He's telling his younger blood, there ain't nothing out here for you. What are you doing with your life? Young blood's like, oh no, you don't understand. This is it. Okay, this is what it is. Okay, but they show you in Wild Style. That's a documented moment of what was going on all over the hood, all over. Another scene with Scheme and his moms in Star Wars. In the documentary Star Wars, graffiti writer Scheme, his mom's is bugging. She's like, I don't understand this dude. I don't want him in the yards. I don't want him in the tunnels. This thing is dangerous. What are you doing? And here's Scheme. She don't get it. I don't care what nobody think about my art. Right. This is for me and my crew and who we know and what we doing. So you had to be a certain kind of black person, African American, or in Herc's case, Jamaican. In Flash's case, Bayesian, from Barbados. In Bam's case, Jamaican or family, I think family from Trinidad or Jamaica. And notice all of these immigrants. I'm getting to this point. Hip hop's origination coming from outside of America as well. The originators of hip hop, the 3 originators, Herc, Bam, and Flash, all have Caribbean origins or Caribbean ascent, I should say. They have Caribbean origins, which is something interesting. And not that hip hop was only created by Caribbean origins, but look at the mixture. You have Afro-Caribbean energy coming in. You got Puerto Rican, which is really Afro-Caribbean energy again. Facts. But on another level, you got Puerto Rican culture coming in. At the same time, they're landing in the black community. So, like, you got a guy like Kool Herc, who's Jamaican immigrant coming in, but his right-hand man, Clark Kent, is from here, from America. So Clark Kent, according to Grandmaster Flash, Clark Kent was handing Herc many of the records that Herc was discovering. Clark Kent discovered many of those records and gave Herc those records, whatever records they were, to play. They were partners in a sound system. So they're all looking for stuff. They're all looking for records. But Clark Kent was the black American dude born here that knew about Smokey Robinson and Temptations and to all these other dudes and so on. So even though Herc came with the technique, he had a new technique that he called the merry-go-round, which was to keep the break going. But Herc's breaks were not seamless. The timings were always off. And so his MCs didn't rap to the beat like we do today. They just said certain things, rocking with the rockers, jamming with the jammers. And also what makes Kool Herc dope in those early days is that he was the first to come out with an echo chamber. 1, 2, 2, 2, 2. Yes, y'all. Space echo chamber. Kool Herc had it. And with those big Herculoid speakers.
Black Diatone, you can hear for blocks.
You could.
Imagine that.
Imagine that.
Yeah.
Like, imagine that, though. Like, these were superheroes.
Facts.
Like, imagine that, okay? Somebody moonwalking with, yo, yeah.
You my
and
superhero.
Dudes floating.
I could tell you about 1988, 153rd and St. Nick. That's where my mother stayed, down the block from Rooftop, right? Your soundscape.
You talking too fast. Hold on. He said down the block from Roof. First of all, what he just said, Rooftop.
Your soundscape, man. As a little one, this is unreal.
Rooftop. That was a whole other piece.
Yeah.
We can't even go there.
Yeah.
He's just having a moment, I guess.
Yeah.
We can't even go there real quick. In essence, but to put a period on your question, we cannot talk about a real. Wait a minute. Going back to the history. We discussed that. Go back to your question about
Kool Herc and
the idea of what made us do what we did. One, we were already marginalized. Two, or should I say one, you had to be a certain type of person to even see this.
Right.
All black people weren't with it. All races and ethnicities was not about hip hop. You had to be a certain type of guy, certain type of girl. You had to be a certain type of person to gravitate towards. It only hit certain people.
Vibratory.
And when it hit these people, we hit energy. We said, "Whoa, do you see this?" And we moving and popping and doing our thing. And others took it in and started spitting on the mic. Look what I could do with the English language. Others of us went right up on the side of his train. When you look at hip hop's core 4 elements and how they burst onto the scenes, this is extreme. This is like we don't think about what it takes to put your name on the side of a train. Like, to actually go to the yards, you could be. First of all, the yards is so dangerous.
Yes.
Okay, you have to have knowledge of them trains, that third rail. Many writers did get hit. Many writers did get hit.
Right. So let's put it in perspective, because again, we're gonna go back to pressure and the diamonds and the beauty that pressure creates. These young individuals were dealing with the pressure of the train yard, electrical currency, right? Police, dark environments. You know what I'm saying? Like you said, their parents not even, you know what I mean? So you pressurized by time. I got an amount of time to do this, that, and the other, or I might lose my life. But you're also focusing on putting up your best piece of work.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Your life on the line.
Your life is on the line. Your name is on the line, and you're still looking to put forward all of that to edify your status in the community, to be seen as a marginalized individual. I'm not even going to, say or show you my name. It's going to be in color, 30 feet big if need be. You know what I'm saying?
That's right. And that was the attitude.
And then they are executing the precision of the geometry. Right? These are the things that I'm waking up to as a child, looking at these trains, and every day it's a different piece. I lived for that. As an artist as well. I'm a visual artist. Me and my brothers, like, how? It was so confusing. Like, what? You're seeing trains go by with masterpieces.
Literally.
You feel me? With masterpieces. And you're like, my people created this under stress and duress. what can they do when they don't have pressure on them? Who are we? And this is all being signaled to me as a 3-year-old, as a 4-year-old, as a 5-year-old. I was born in 1975 in the Bronx, New York. You know, so only thing I've known is hip hop. And then, you know, later on in life, I'm able to revisit these things and put things in perspective. And I'm like, who were these people?
Right.
How?
No, who are these people?
Right.
Because it's the same energy. We're still talking the same. We are part of the same group.
Continuum.
And it's like what the same continuum. We are
The energy's still rolling.
And thanks to you, it's rolling right up to right now. Right up to right now. The energy is here right now. And you got to think to yourself, you said a key thing. Who are these people? Who are we? When we say these people, who are we? Other races and ethnicities have been given everything. Look, and just look at this without, and again, whoever's listening to us right now, raise your consciousness to the maturity of this conversation. No disrespect to any race, ethnicity, or culture. We're not putting ourselves above anybody or below anybody. But in our face, in our time, we can read life and see this group and other groups have been given, not earned, came to America, saw the Statue of Liberty, and was given college education, GI Bill loans, whole houses, jobs, land, given it by the government.
Status.
And social status above the indigenous community already here, which is us.
Yes, they did.
Okay? You got all that. All of that. You was the first to go to the moon. You got guns. You got computers. You got cars, planes.
Treasury.
You got
What else?
everything you need.
Free labor.
And on top of everything, you got everything, okay? And look at the world. This is the best you can do with all that you've been given, freely given. You've been freely given. And this is the best you can do. Look at the governance of the world. Look at the governance of the nation. And look at who has been given everything. Now, look at the other group. Not only were we not given anything, the little bit we had was taken. We're living amongst thieves. Black people are so divine. This is not passivity. This is our character. We actually can shake hands with thieves. Only God can do that. We actually can bear liars, shake hands with thieves, have a smile on our face, walking amongst people who have our goods right now.
Right.
They're walking around with our stuff right now. You can walk into any museum in the United States and see our stuff. You'll have to pay to see your ancestors' stuff. We have to pay to see our ancestors' stuff.
Right.
It's not their stuff. It was so eloquently said in the Black Panther film. Killmonger, talking to the museum. Big up to
Michael G.
everybody that wrote for that movie. The names are too long. Everybody had anything to do with Black Panther, just big up to you. Because they showed you right then and there. For a young kid to see that movie, a superhero movie where Killmonger's telling you right there in the movie, where your ancestors get this from? You think they paid a fair price for it? Don't tell me about you can't and this is my stuff.
Right.
But of course, he's the villain in the movie, so we have to, that thought then becomes villainized.
Facts.
That whole thing is just like, no, he gonna die at the end of the movie. He just don't think like that.
People who do that die and get thrown off boats.
Right.
Get thrown off boats.
Right.
Buried in a watery grave, as they say. And remember, they did that to Osama.
That's right.
So these connections and correlations are made because they want to infer that that's terroristic thinking, that you would come back undiplomatically to secure, right, Because remember,
You're
because
good.
at the center of the conversation was the CIA. So
Right.
he deals with them differently, but you deal with them, even though this person was still made from their program as a hire killer, but they don't negotiate with terrorists.
Right.
So yeah, what was being inferred is deep. You know what I'm saying? And what you're saying is completely true. That we are surrounded in a den of thieves. But look at our compassion, look at our integrity, look at our uprightness, look at our ability to still make gold strewn from lead. You know what I'm saying?
Hip-hop.
Yeah.
With nothing, dude. They took we're speaking English. We're not even speaking our mother tongue.
Right.
And we took their tongue and flipped it better than them. They can't do what we can. We can speak like them, but they can't speak like us.
So the royal science,
With their language.
with their queen's language, the Royal Science Institute did a composite study on hip hop, a comprehensive study on hip hop, and they found that this is the highest form of linguistic science. They said that it superseded or surpassed jazz. I would beg to differ to have a broader conversation with people that are more qualified. But what they were able to show, what we did, the way that they might reference their literary greats, comparatively, we have outpaced that. What we have been able to do with syntax in this quote unquote English language, we have truly given it substance and context. And it's not even technically ours.
Right.
And might I add, yes,
the word technically.
this is still considered the sign of genius by their standards. If you can do what we did with the English language, you're considered genius.
Savant.
Right? Savant. So we have utilized hip hop as a medium to excel in arts and sciences, and these are the litmus by which you tell the genius in a civilization or a society. Granted, line drawing is one thing, you know what I'm saying? Pencil drawing is one thing. Learning how to paint is another thing. Have you ever put a spray top on a spray can bottle and figured out that that's not the easiest thing to do to create lines and blends of colors, but our people were doing it in the dark, under stress and duress of being killed, and they came out with masterpieces.
No, that's heavy right there.
That again, these conversations, we need to revisit. You know what I'm saying? Our own personal self audit as a culture and a community, and really, we deserve our own round of applause to be able to see ourselves.
I mean, so to even see certain things like, first off, just when you break down this whole concept, this whole ideology of literally creating yourself.
Yes.
And believing in yourself without waiting for any validation, or are you going to allow me to be this person? Are you going to? No, it was literally created and committed to. So to see from the mental capacity to, seeing with no training, no formal education.
The pressure was the training.
Well, yeah, but to become an engineer, to become a scientist, to become Grandmaster Flash and scientifically re-engineer these devices.
Yeah.
That's who are we,
You just made me think of something. Keep in mind that we were, as young kids, we all had the mental ability to be attorneys, doctors, engineers. Person like Grandmaster Flash actually went to electronic high school.
Okay.
And so he was an electrician. He knew how to rewire stuff. And so when he made this queuing system, but the keep in mind, we wanted to be other things. The pressure. Racism was way more prevalent. I can't even say that. It was a different kind of.
It was more in your face.
Right.
No, because it's in your face now.
Right.
And that's why I hesitated for a minute.
Right. The pressure of it.
The pressure of it was slightly different.
Yeah.
Okay, it was a different kind of racism.
Especially in New York.
That was especially in New York, which told you, like teachers would come up and tell you, young man, you say, what do you want to be when you grow up? I'm going to be an attorney. They say, no, think of something else.
More realistic.
More realistic. And this was the conversation. Like, this is what it was. We were not encouraged to do any of this. And so, and then even if you did get to to go to college, because many thousands of black people went to college during these times as well. You come out with a degree, no job. Racism, and not like today, no job, because there's no jobs, but no, back in the 70s, there was jobs for your degree.
Right.
You a black doctor, just went through, your whole thing, medical exam, everything, whatever it is to become a doctor, you come out, and just because you black, they're not hiring you. Thousands of black doctors just shut out, had to go drive cab, do other things. So imagine people like us, we have the mind to be engineers and all that, but because of racism, sexism, classism, just basic injustice in and of itself, we got pressured. I want to be an attorney. No, you're not going to be. So I'll become Puffy. I want to be an electrician. You can't be. So I'll become Grandmaster Flash. I want to go to the Alvin Ailey dance school. I got these moves. Nah, you become the Rocksteady crew. Everything was nah, not you. You don't look right. You don't talk right. You don't sound right. You don't. So we go away and be like, well, damn, I'm still going to do what I want to.
I just want to add this in there. So then there was also an element to it where it was like, all right, well, you may be able to come in here if you come like this, if you dress like this.
That's right.
And then there was a part where it was like, well, no, I'm coming to be myself when I come.
And just so you ain't coming.
Okay.
Right. So the conformity
So you ain't coming.
factor.
So I'm standing on, so rather than conform and trick myself out of who I am, I'm going to stand my ground and I'm going to be who I am.
Straight up and down. And I'm going to believe in who I am. And see, and check this out too. Don't mistake this for arrogance, because young people can be arrogant, or all people can be arrogant, but young people can be arrogant sometimes with not knowing certain things. You just say, oh, I'm going to do it my way. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about when those who are supposed to protect you don't. When those who are supposed to guide you and give you wisdom and sit you down, when they just say, I don't care what you do, I don't care, you better do it this way or you ain't doing it. No regard for your existence, for how you think, how you see the world, none of that. A lot of youth are facing that today. With such intolerance. I don't agree with everything young people are advocating today. I don't agree with most of it, actually. But your right to advocate what you believe about yourself is hip-hop. Straight up and down. Like, I could criticize all day, but dude, if you're not keeping it real with you can't keep it real with me.
Facts.
And that's just a hip hop code. Now, I may not like what your real is. I may not like it, but as long as I see you consistent with your real, I can respect you. A chick that's gonna take her clothes off all the time in front of the camera, I may not agree with that. But if that's you and that's how you do it, and if you consistent with that, let me respect your game on that level. Let me just respect that, because hip hop demands that you be you. And on top of that, if you got an audience, this is the next piece. It's not just about you being you, because you could be you and find yourself alone. But if you being you is connected to another dude saying, wait a minute, I just got kicked out of my joint. I tried to go into the church with my thing on and they told me to get out. Where you come from? I just came from the synagogue. What? Yeah, they told me if I didn't put the yarmulke on and do the thing, where you come? I just came from the mosque. They told me if I didn't do this and it. This is what we were dealing with. We found ourselves in a hole, all humped together. Puerto Ricans, blacks, Italians,
Right.
Greeks.
The rejects.
The rejects.
The midnight marauders.
All of us.
Right.
Okay? Found ourselves in a little bunch. And then the community started. The community started. Right out of this rejection. Now, here's the thing, though. You gotta mature. The meaning of maturity is that you don't stay in the situation you were born in. If you're still doing the same thing, you're 2 years old, now you're 10 years old, you're still doing 2-year-old stuff, you didn't mature. You was 10 years old, you're now 20 years old, you're still doing 10-year-old stuff, you didn't mature. Same thing with cultures. 1973, say to 83, we was a certain kind of hip hop, and then we needed to be who we was for that moment. 83 to 93 was another kind of hip hop. And it causes argument because this hip hop from 93, 83, 93 is contradicting hip hop from 73 to 83. Okay. And then you have hip hop 83 to 2003. I would say 93 to 2003. Now you got 2003 hip hop as everybody beefing. That ain't hip hop. That ain't what it is. This is crazy. We're all right. And that's the problem with hip hop's cultural argument. You can't resolve nothing if everybody's right.
Wow.
Usually in an argument, somebody wrong.
Right.
In an argument, somebody wrong. I will prove you wrong. No, the argument that hip hop is having about itself, everybody, from what I hear, everybody's right. Everybody, your statement, no, it wasn't really about Herc. It was really about these other people. You're right. It was about Herc because Herc's the one that started the break. You're right.
Ooh.
You know what? It wasn't about Herc, Bam, or Flash. We're talking about a culture here. It's about Africa.
Right.
You're right. And this is the problem. It's like when everybody's right, you have a worse problem than when everybody's wrong. Or when you can prove somebody wrong. When all of us are right, when the gods speak as a council, you got a problem.
Nah, and that's a real part. Like, I wanted to tap on that a little bit too, just the whole idea of like, because we talk about these different generations and how, these young heads, they not respecting the elders and the origin, and that's right, And you got the youngins that's like, well, the elders ain't respecting us, they ain't giving our just due, they ain't giving us. And that could
that's
be right,
right.
too.
No, that is right.
That's right.
So, to what of that is like the truth, and what do we need to do as far as like figuring out how to harness this harmony in the community where there is a respect for different levels, different generations, where we not separating ourselves, because we always find a reason to divide.
That's the immaturity, though. See, that's the immaturity. That's one of the pieces we got to get away from. If you could say it, then we have a basis by which to leave it from. It's one thing if you don't know something, you say, look, we still doing the same dumb shit because we don't know. No, you just said it. How do we do this? How do we get our young people? How do we get our people together?
Our people, fact.
Okay, young, old, black, white, whoever, gay, straight,
conscious,
street, whoever. How do we get this whole culture thinking on one path? Well, begin with the fact here. I want to throw this out to you. First of all, everybody's not gonna make it. Right. Let's start there.
Absolutely.
We can't save the whole world, and everybody's not going to come into the fold. Let's just start there, okay? But for those that do want what we're offering, and what is it that we're offering? Hip-hop unified. Hip-hop unified. This is the shining goal. It don't matter whether you are a whore or pimp, conscious, gangster, whatever, thief, liar, who cares? Don't you want this thing to last? That's it. We all have a vested interest in this thing called hip-hop. So let's just make it last. Now, what I preach is health, love, awareness, and wealth. That's what I preach. I say, look, hip-hop don't need a whole lot of laws. Just 4 principles: health, love, awareness, wealth. You go against it. If you're coming with sickness, hatred, ignorance, and poverty, we can't deal with you. That's breaking the law. That's the breaking of our law. What we want is health, We want to do things for health, love, affection, compassion, care for our brothers and sisters. We want awareness. We want to know what the hell is going on. Wealth. We don't want to be in poverty. And wealth is not just money. It actually has to do with mastery of skills. But we'll leave that alone. Wealth. We want to be prosperous. That's what we want in hip hop. Now, to bring everybody together around certain principles is usually in a culture or civilization, that's usually how you find that cohesiveness, that unity, is that you make simple rules, simple principles. Can you do this? I vow not to rob you. You vow not to rob me. We vow not to rob him. He vows not to rob us. Civilization is built. What hip hop needs to do, which is easy for it, but will shock the whole world, is if we declare ourselves a crimeless society. This is the shakeup of the whole world right here. That we, hip hop, okay, and then KRS-One, I make criminal-minded. Let's just put that on. Okay. Now, these dudes, okay, Biggie and whoever's out here today, you know, us, okay, these guys say, you know what? We are going to declare ourselves a crimeless society. We're not going to commit crimes against each other. We're just not going to do it no more. We're going to give up crime. We're not stealing, we're not robbing, we're not lying, we're not killing, we're not, none of that. To be hip hop means to vow to be crimeless. That's what it means to be hip hop, to be crimeless. Now, why is that important? Because our ancestors lived in that society. Our ancestors, we can't even comprehend our original civilization because we live in prison. We think we're supposed to have police. This is an abnormal situation for any civilization. Our civilizations existed without even the word prison. We didn't even have a word for prison. Prison's a new word for us. Prison? There were no courts, cops, prison. There was no need. From the time you were born, you knew you was part of the community. And why would I kill my brother? Why would I rape my sister? Why would I disrespect my father and my mother? There's no reason for it. So you raise a community of character. The character, we're crimeless, we're harmless. That's how our people, that's how our ancestors were actually able to be overpowered. We were not warriors. Many of us became warriors upon invasion, but even becoming a philosopher, becoming a warrior, no, you're gonna lose, okay? You'll fight and get away, you know, like Zulu Nation even, in the original Zulu, you know, Zulu Nation from Africa, original Zulu Nation, they were fighters, okay? They pushed back all types of European armies and stuff. Same thing with Ethiopia. Shout out to Ethiopia. These are fighters, okay? These dudes is what it is. But the civilization itself was not based on killing. And that's how our people lost it. We're not willing to drop atomic weapons on people we don't even know. Like, you got to be the lowest human being on earth to do something like that. Like, that's the lowest level of humanity. Hitler is not even as worse as not Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Oh, no, 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 no. Hiroshima and Nagasaki is an immoral, unethical, nasty, disgusting act. That's what that was. And that's what American, imperialism wanted to do. Now, you don't get away with that in the heavens. You don't get away with that in the universe. You may get away with it on Earth because you got a gun to everybody's head. But the universe sees this. And this has also been recorded. Our ancestors recorded it every time. They said these dudes get so powerful, they get all up in their technology, and then out of nowhere, pandemic, earthquake, meteor come out the sky. Boom, hit your planet. The ancestors done told us. They told us, they said, listen, don't worry about these people. The only true reality is life itself. Life itself. It's like now, look at this. We're learning at the pace of thieves. This is why we can't learn nothing. We're learning at their pace.
Facts.
We're learning at their pace. I grew up with 9 planets. How many planets you grew up with?
at the same time around 9, but
9 planets.
They was
right?
talking about 7. And,
7 is that right?
Yeah, it's like 8 in a possible.
It's 8 in a possible.
Couple possibles.
Pluto's not a planet no more. What are we talking? Now look at this. I grew up with 9 planets. Okay. Then I heard 8. Then I heard 7. Then I heard millions.
Right.
oh yeah, now all these exoplanets.
Now there's millions of planets. Millions. I remember going to science class and saying, you think, how can we be the only ones in the universe? There got to be other people in this in the universe.
Right.
We're the only forms like this. We used to say this all the time as little kids. We knew what it was. Oh no, shut up! No, UFOs. Oh, aliens. Oh, you one of them people? Now the news. Not only are there television shows on this now, but now the news has come. The Navy, the Air Force is putting out. Oh, what's this little tic tac? This thing is going, they must be operating on energy we know nothing about.
Mm-hmm.
This is what they say, energy, what energy source are they working on?
Right.
There's another way to live.
So we're being held hostage by people who are being marveled by stuff that we figured out thousands of years ago.
Can you say that again?
We are being held hostage by infants who are being marveled by grown folk antics that we mastered thousands of years ago. And, it's almost like we're trudging along while this person figures out how to walk.
Right. This is the condition.
Know what I mean? Yeah.
This is the condition.
And we on their back like as gullibles travel. As Twa, who done been around the whole world 1,000 million times, and we like, if you would only listen, I would tell you you're supposed to go this way and not that way.
Right.
But the arrogance, the insistence of a child that wants to stand on its own rather than receive the support that, all children prior to it have received.
Right.
Now we're going through the developmental dysfunction of somebody who's just goofy,
That's all you get. It's goofy. This is what's running the country, though. I don't know. The ancestors just gave you that word, goofy. That's exactly what the political scene is. Goofy, stupid, immature. It's Mickey Mouse and Donald Duck. Did I say Donald? Okay.
Yeah. That's a
Mickey Mouse, Donald Duck. You're goofy and this and this is what's running the country. Now we gotta ask ourselves as adults, do we go down with this ship? Do we burn in this house? Do we allow our children to continue to burn in this house? Or do we start thinking about sovereignty for real?
That's the question. That's ultimately like the main, point of the conversation is where do we go from here, And so let me drop this too. So our organization, S.O.U.L Society, it was a variety of different pieces that poured into the inspiration and birthing of S.O.U.L Society, but ultimately you were definitely one of the major leaders, teachers, philosophers that I got up under the tutelage of, and one of the major things was this experience. A major thing we gotta really hone in on is the soul, the wealth within, the power within, and mind you, I touch on this a little bit at the event we had before you came up, but just talking about that foundation, but I went through a period where I didn't see no worth of value in myself. And when I look back, I understand okay, I inherited this slave mentality, this poverty mentality. And when I'm an athlete, so, when them certain athletes get into that point of the road where it's like, dang, I don't know if I'm gonna make it. I don't know if I'm gonna go pro, And when I look back, nowhere near doing the formula and regimen that it took to go where I thought I wanted to go. But ultimately, once that dream left, and that's where I got my glory at the point, There wasn't nowhere else where I was glorified, and in our subconscious mind, we all are looking for some type of lane of value and glory,
right.
And
Period.
because I didn't see that for myself. Oh, I forgot who it was. Somebody was talking about just the weight that we give the athletic programs in the school. You come into school, see big trophy case full of sports. You don't see nothing about academics. Nobody really praising the academic. Who the top scientists of the school? Nobody knows or cares. Like,
What happened to the children from the science fair? I always ask.
Oh man, facts.
That's a book title. What happened to the kids from the science?
Facts.
They became Grandmaster Flash.
True.
Continue.
So ultimately, I went into my mind I went to A&T. Shout out to A&T. You know,
Shout out.
My family had some great seeds that they planted in me because we were operating as a village before I had that village mentality, and ultimately, what I realized is I had this African American experience class, and it was teaching me deeper parts of my history, and I started to see, dang, we did this, we overcame that. We contributed this to the world. And I mind you, a part of that depression I had got a couple marijuana charges early that railroaded my life. I ain't even gonna get into the details and the flaw of these systems coming down on young, I was about to say black, but men and women. I mean, I was about to say black male, but you know, the women had to deal with what they had to deal with. But for the males specifically, they out hunting us. And I'm seeing this going into the Obama years where I'm thinking, you know, we in this post-racial society. And I'm seeing these cops literally following us, tracking us down, you know, and doing what they can to railroad us and expressing themselves in a way like, dang, we can't bury them as deep as we want to.
Right.
But ultimately, that became a blessing of mine because I was on this path of just fulfilled American dream, you know, go off to college. I don't even know why I'm in college. I'm just here because they said so. I'm gonna get a good job, work 20, 30 years somewhere, get some good benefits, and, you know, be able to take care of my family, maybe get a dog, a picket fence, couple cars, you know, have 2 kids, 2.5 kids. You feel me? Like
2.5.
You feel me? So ultimately, it took, you know, ones like you to unlock my mind. It took these educational classes to show me, dang, I come from this divine essence.
No doubt.
These little problems I got are little that I thought was mountains. And now I'm like, yo, this is microscopic. We overcame a lot more than what I'm dealing with. So I started to see more wealth and value in myself because I realized what I come from. And then furthermore, I realized that it was within me. Everything I was looking for outside of me the whole time, all the people I was trying to please, even down to my family. I gotta please me. I gotta please my soul first. What feels right is what is most important before everything else even comes into the picture. And then furthermore, I wrap it up with this. You had the ideology around when you are looking to birth a new self, you have to claim a new name.
Yes.
You know, so you like, look, where I'm going, people aren't named Chris Parker, Lawrence Parker, you know, like they name stuff like Grandmaster Flash.
Right.
You know, and so on and so forth. So I took on this identity of Born King. You know, it started with Born to Be King, but then it evolved into Born King. Like I am that. I just gotta fulfill my crown. You know, I was born into this. You know, this is our birthright.
Right.
You know, and I'm actually have a ability and a responsibility to fulfill the greatness of my ancestors. So I claim this name, Born King, servant of the people, you know, because it's not like I'm not on no pedestal, but at the same time, I'm on a high level of divine essence that I don't want to come down to the level a lot of us on. I want to raise you up to the level that I'm on, you know, and some of the major figures that I'm following are on, you know. So furthermore, I realized that we got to reclaim and rebuild this village mentality and this village, you know. And now I'm at a point now where, another part of when we brought you down, we had the interview, sit down with you in the restaurant.
That's right.
And you were saying, by the time I see you again, y'all gonna be big. Y'all gonna probably have a soul society, some little land somewhere, doing y'all thing. And now I'm like, wow, we really here.
Right.
We really, and this is, mind you, this is things I thought was going to take 10, 20 years. And before I knew it, when I made up my mind, before I knew it, brother came out of nowhere, got land, giving us the leeway to develop and curate this space. He's trying to pass on the baton. Shout out to Chief, Brother Robert McCray with Live Alkaline Water. You know, he been showing us certain tricks to the trades and how to reclaim our nationality, establish our identity, establish our free autonomous space where we can be us and do us without any. You can't call the police and tell us we too loud and, oh, it's time for y'all to wrap up y'all event. No, we following S.O.U.L. We following the free space and what's flowing within us. So the event is over when the vibe is, you know, and it's never over. You know, we just take a pause until we come back together. But ultimately, I want to thank you. I appreciate you. And
no, I want to thank you.
Yes, sir.
A teacher is nothing without students. In fact, the student rates the teacher.
For sure.
You know, this is why we have such. This is why I'm so always diligently working, you know, to bring our people up, because people look at hip hop, they say, oh, hip hop is this, hip hop is that. Whatever criticism you have of hip hop, it's the fault of the teacher. It's the fault of hip hop's teachers. So I don't exalt myself as a teacher. I'm called master teacher, sure, but like you said, born king, servant of the people. That's what our original leadership was, which is why we were trusted, because we were clearly the servants. We were clearly serving our people's interests. And it's funny you picked that name, like just boom. Because the name itself says it all. Born, that's the birthright. King. Born king, now live up to your birthright. This is different from you're born a sinner and you have to atone for your sins. That's craziness. No, you're born a winner. Now continue winning. Go forward and establish, confirm your winnings. Keep going forward. This is what we was about. You're already on the path. And as a matter of fact, you answered your other question about how do we get young people to come together? How do we get I keep saying young people, but how do we close this? How do we end this debate with, like you said, older people, old heads in hip hop? They're not showing young people the respect that young people deserve. They're not. And I would even go further and say they're not teaching the young people nothing. You're complaining, you're pointing fingers and saying this and that, but you're not. Where's the knowledge then? Then come with what we supposed to be doing. That, you know, come with what we supposed to be doing. If this is not it, here's what it is. And you know, too many of our elders are trying to be young. They're trying to be 14 and 15 as opposed to trying to be elders, you know, and say, no, we learned something. We went through some stuff. Why do our kids have to go through the same exact thing? Like, nah, come on, I have a different problem, okay? Not the same problem, okay? Like Dr. King in the I Have a Dream speech, you know, 2 times Dr. King refers to police brutality. 2 times he has to refer to police brutality in the people love to say, I have a dream, I have a blah, blah, blah. They don't read that part where he talks about, well, just basically police brutality. He talks about how people have to, he said, I know you came here from a long way, battering the storms of police brutality, coming here just to get here. Okay, you had to battle these dudes just to get, that's 1963. We got the same problem in 2023. Nah, I'm ashamed. As an elder, I'm ashamed. I'm like, wait a minute. Our kids are still getting shot down in the street, and we talk about progress? Nah, this is that. So this is the motivation, though. This is the motivation to continue the work, to unify our culture and put all of our people together, because everybody rises in consciousness according to their character. Your character is going to determine what you're going to know. It's not even intelligence yet. It's like not even the ability to know. Just who are you as a person? Born. Who are you? Born. That's going to determine. Born, you obviously were born king. And you did it the right way, because you first have to be lost. Every king is in the wilderness. Every king will tell you, first, I was stupid. Einstein, anybody dealing with the mind will tell you first, I was an idiot. I was running around. I couldn't see it.
Really?
I didn't see nothing. But then, E equals MC squared. Boom. I got it. That knowledge raises you up. This is your maturity now. I know something. I know something. And when you know something, it goes back onto your character. You can never be the same person again. You know something. So now you look out the window and you see these kids. Who do they have to look up to? Really? And all kids, white, black, Native American, you name it in America. Where is the elder that our kids respect and will hear something from? Name one. I'm sorry to do that.
Yeah.
I messed up so y'all in there. But no, name one. There's no elder. There is no, like the way we have, you have Martin Lawrence, comedian. We can say, yo, who's a dope comedian? You can point, you can shout Martin Lawrence. You can shout, 5 comedians. You say it's dope. Yo, rappers. You can shout 5, 6 rappers. All these guys is dope. Elders. Elder philosophers. Wise men. Wise women. Give me 5. That the whole country knows, everybody knows you go here for wisdom.
Right.
Oh, you want to name 5? You gonna help me, pitch in? I need some help a little bit, Man, look,
it's a rhetorical question.
Mind you, look, you talking to a brother who, I got to these points of frustration and whatnot, and feeling like I was just duped,
Right.
And then I'm looking around like, yo, some of this is like common knowledge. Like, why ain't nobody speaking up on this? Why? Look, I'm gonna be real quick on all this. Look, so 4th grade, I remember 4th grade, 2000. This was 2000 when I was in 4th grade. There was the Bush and Al Gore election.
Boom.
Mind you, I don't know too much of nothing. I guess from the first Bush, it was a familiar name. So, we doing mock election in class and things of that nature. And, I'm standing on the side with Bush. I guess I heard his name. I don't know why I was standing with Bush, but I was. So, whatever extent of me paying attention, I seen like, hold on. Al Gore won the popular vote. Bush won the electoral vote. Hold on, popular vote is the people's vote. So he didn't win? I thought... I'm in 4th grade at the time. From there on, I'm like, it's a scam, this whole... Oh, and then the recount. To a 4th grader thinking of this American system supposed to be so perfect and flawless. A recount on the presidential election. I'm like, why ain't nobody mad? Why ain't nobody flipping no tables?
Right.
How did Bush... He just became president and nobody blinked an eye. We just moved on.
By court decision.
That's it.
We just moved on.
They installed one right in front of you.
Right in front of you. In your face.
I'm looking back at history over time. I'm like, what type of preachers we got today? Because the old ones, Martin Luther King and the other nameless names, they was outside. They was in the street. They was raising the issues.
Dr. King,
I'm in church every Sunday.
What are you doing?
We not talking about the issues that I'm dealing with when I leave this church and what I deal with Monday through Saturday.
Right.
We not talking about it. You're not showing up.
And that used to be the cultural institution that these things got aired out on. According to what my mother and my elders told me, they said it was the black church and black radio.
I'm hearing about meetings they had in the basements and all type of organizing.
Black church was the center of all revolution. That was it. But take a look. You can't have a revolutionary base without the enemy coming to infiltrate it.
Right.
So there it is. And like I said about hip hop from 73 to say 83, we have we become certain things for certain times. And when we become these things, we work them for the time we're in. We should write it down and document it, but we're going to become something else. We're going to become something else. And this stage that we're in right now, just in terms of hip hop, the stage we're in right now, we're not going to be in this stage another 5 years or so. We're going to evolve. We're going to get better. Right. You got to argue, though. You got to talk. Mm-hmm. Your platform, this platform right here, you're solving the issue right now. You solving the issue right now. I'm 1965. I'm not 65 years old yet. I'm 1965. You say you 1975.
Yes.
You right.
91.
91. Come on. And we could bring somebody up. My daughter's here. Maybe she can say, she's 2099 or something. Yeah. But that answers the question.
It's moving. Yeah.
That answers the question. When we could sit at a round table like this and all of us equally discuss what the issues of our community is equally. So you got to give young people equality. Treat them like men and women, and they will rise to it.
And let me put something on the record. In my research and my study, I had to research the etymology of the word church. And it comes from the word ecclesias. And Paul, entered this word into the lexicon. And what the etymology and original word meant, it said a gathering of citizens to discuss community affairs. And normally they would gather in a circle. So it has the same etymology as circus, has the same etymology as church, but it's a circle composed of citizens talking about community affairs. Hence the fact that the quote-unquote church was the epicenter in our community for concerned citizens to talk about community affairs and mobilize to say, we're going to do X, Y, and Z. It don't have to be in a building. This is church right here.
Absolutely.
You feel me?
What's crazy is my grandfather, like I said, he was always in the church, pushing the Bible. He taking box of Bibles to the jail, to the fairgrounds. You feel me? And he used to always say, 2 or more of us gather and break bread and exchange this enlightenment. Right. It's church. So we'll be in his living room like, we having church.
Oh, that's
we just had church,
Yeah, and it had nothing to do with no building.
Nothing. Church is the people.
Yeah.
God is amongst the people.
Always.
And so, man, this is it. You solved you solved it right there. Let me just touch on this piece. I know we're coming up to
for sure.
to our conclusion. Talk a little bit about self-sufficiency, or let us talk a little bit about self-sufficiency. That land you was talking about, this is the beginning of what sovereignty is about. Can you feed yourself?
Right.
Water. I'm so proud of this. Do you realize that the human body can live on water alone? It's not just food. Food is a part of our nutrition, but you'll die faster from dehydration than from starvation. As long as you keep your body hydrated in water, and we're 98% water. We're supposed to be even a higher number than that. The human body, we're more water than anything.
Thanks.
You making your own water, got land where you could farm that land and at least make vegetables and fruits, even beans. If you could put beans, you got a whole food coming out the ground. Black-eyed peas, kidney beans, any of that you can grow on the land.
Cabbage,
broccoli, any of that you can grow on the land.
Whole gamut. Provision.
Oh man, don't get the okra and the potatoes. Look. Land gives you the ability.
So I want to segue my question when you finish, because
no. The spirit. The spirit of what I'm saying is done. You dig what I'm saying. This is the beginning of self-sufficiency. Is the land you talked about, the water you putting forward, that farmland. Build on that.
You have the land. You have the idea. You also have the temple. I was there when the book came out. You know what I'm saying? It sets the framework for the ideology that we're taking. It speaks about hip-hop being borderless.
Yes.
Right? And ultimately, at some point, it, having a physical location. I read a book the other day that was speaking about cloud communities, how to create a nation utilizing your online network, your cloud community, how you can extract people. Because the old sense of migrants is that people came from other places to places that were unknown to create something that they didn't know what they was going to do.
Right.
The internet has the ability, right, for us to now extract people who we do know to come someplace that we know about, to do something that we agree upon. So what do you think would have to be the next steps taken to consecrate something that can consider to be the physical manifestation of what the hip hop nation will ultimately look like? And should we use this political climate to galvanize our people who are at a level where they like, I done had enough. I want to do for self. This thing ain't working no more. They talking about a famine, but we know that the hip hop thing is to make something out of nothing. So we got a land, we got seeds, we got each other. What else we need?
We need a city. It's called Hip Hopia. The next step for us is that safe place for us, that safe space for us. Here's what the Temple of Hip Hop is doing right now. I'll reveal this here. We've been pushing this idea of a hip hop resort town, meaning like the way in every city you have a Chinatown. Not every city. Some of the major cities you have a Chinatown, you have a Little Italy. Actually, in New York, you have all of that. Chinatown, Little Italy. Even in Brooklyn, you got a Little Caribbean now in Brooklyn or Flatbush. Little Haiti as well. So we was like, where's a little hip hop? Where's that section of your city that is declared hip hop? And the hip hoppers of your city have a place to go. Not just to go to hang out, but jobs, education, character building skills. Where do we go to get these things done? So we've been talking to several mayors around the nation, actually. Not going to call too many names because they're still thinking. But I will mention one man, Newark's mayor, Ras J. Baraka. So I'm mentioning his name because he's part of this struggle, and no matter what happens with whatever our plans are, I still consider him part of this struggle. He's been phenomenal. Mayor Baraka has been phenomenal in terms of what his vision is, what he want to do, and who he's bringing in to try to get it done. Okay. So we're looking at Newark, New Jersey, and we're saying, first of all, hold up, we all hip hop here. The whole city is, okay? We do the whole, we all here. Latifah come out of Newark, and Stretch, and Redman, and come on, we used to come from New York.
Sensations,
Zanzibar, come on. That was
hip hop.
That was hip hop, okay? So we went to the mayor, we said, look, is there a section of town that we can call hip hop here? And he said, yes. Yes, it was a section of Newark called Weekway. And he said, yes, we could start developing Weekway as a section for hip hop.
Right, cultural center?
A cultural, well, no, the whole area.
Right.
But of course,
I mean, the epicenter is based on our culture.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And this would be presumably like how they designate certain places, free trade zones. You know what I'm saying? Economic empowerment is taking place here. Cultural restoration.
All that.
Right?
That's right. That's what we're talking about. And bringing in jobs to our people where the crime, again, I'm bucking for a crimeless society. So our
Love
people,
that idea.
you know.
Because hip hop provides. You know what I'm saying? And it alleviates the need for quote unquote crime. Hence the fact that what you hear every time somebody get it, yo, I got this record contract, so I get out the street. So they understand, in essence, you have now found gainful employment, and you don't have to contribute to you know what I'm saying, being outside of the circle.
Right.
But now that circle that they understand represents the industry.
Right.
So we have to build something.
Another circle.
Another circle.
Get out of that circle. Come on over into your home. Come into a circle where people want you to succeed. Where's that?
Right.
But we want you to succeed.
We want to know your thoughts. We want to know what your ideas and creations are. Because I would, gather that a lot of if a individual has the ability to strike out artistically, you know what I'm saying, and create to that level, we can probably say that these individuals can probably make other artistic contributions to society as well.
That's right.
Hence the fact that, and I don't know if that's an appropriate example to use at this time, but our brother Kanye has various different talent skills as an artist. a lot of different artists that I see that are recording artists are also visual artists, graphic artists.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
They have the ability in their mind to think as creatives.
Right.
So, and the creative economy is a multi-billion-dollar economy. So why should not hip hop be the epicenter to call forward to gather all of our missing pieces?
Right.
You know, free of what would be a racial designation or any of those things is universal.
Yeah.
We want to call forward the creatives amongst us.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
And where's that space where the creatives amongst us gather, and we benefit from our own creations, us, our children.
Yes.
We benefit from what we do. And this is the whole point. So to go back to the question, we need our own space and franchised, meaning that
satellite community.
Newark is just one. The first, I would hope it would be the first one. But Virginia needs this. Baltimore,
They do, yeah.
Philly, Washington, California, everywhere hip hop is, and Japan, England,
Globally.
Italy, anywhere where hip hop is, this model, this hip hop resort town model, this little hip hop, what we call hip hopia, this little this little resort town can be franchised all over the world.
But
Oh no, we
not only does North Carolina need it, but North Carolina's ready for it.
Oh yeah,
know
for
what
sure.
I'm saying?
Look, we're gonna talk further off camera, see what we can do to provide support, provide space and opportunity. But ultimately,
I'm bringing Black Eyed Peas seeds.
Come on, let's put it together. I'm telling you. And then the great thing I feel like is we right in the middle. We right in the middle of the East Coast, from New York, D.C. Then you got Florida, Georgia. You got Texas, not too far. Of course, West Coast on the other side. But they're gonna make their trips. And
North Carolina has always been strategic. I mean, come on, when the tobacco was big there, that was a strategic hub. Like that's also why North Carolina became rich as well. North and South Carolina. Where it sits.
And it sits. Location.
This is probably the middle. It's considered in terms of trade, the middle ground.
Middle of the coast.
South, middle of the coast. Right there from the south going up, you know.
can bring your ship in and drive it up the interstate, up and down.
Or out.
Yeah, so
deeper in.
Yeah, we would love to do what we can do to provide it. We already, you know, I'm hip hop.
Already in.
You know,
we already in.
We've been operating in the vibe and the culture and the soul. So it's Soul Society. So
we're gonna continue to work, and big up to Soul Society, because again, you guys are doing the work. Organization. See, sometimes when you don't have celebrity attached to your organization, people tend to lose sight. You know what I'm saying? I just want to say that, like, you know, without all the celebrity, without all the hype, you know, I've been watching you guys for years.
Respect.
You know, do our thing. Right. I feel like I'm a part of
for sure.
You know what I'm saying?
Say that.
It was like, do our thing. No, but Soul Society is doing its thing. All the members, everyone involved. And I just want to say that, acknowledge that. That's what I'm saying. I just want to acknowledge that you're answering your own question again, even to those listening to us right now. Here you are, you know, younger than both of us, but look at where you at, though. You actually older than both of us. Because intelligence has no age. Character has no age on it at all. A 10-year-old can speak like you speak, and a 60-year-old can speak like some of these people. You'd be like, who is this? You know, I don't want to call no name, but it's like, no, there's no intelligence, character, integrity, authenticity, authority has no age. Has no age, and you obviously exude it. And so success is here, and I'm proud to be part of that. I'm proud to be part of your success.
I'm living it, we creating it, and claiming it.
And that's it. And when you do that, you shine light on me. You shine light on me. You make me shine.
The teacher.
You make me shine straight up.
Sure.
Come on, man.
I'm the student. You feel me?
Right.
But look, though, man,
we
I
are
greatly
all
appreciate
students. You
y'all.
said master student.
I'm a master student, you know.
I might have to borrow that.
You know, because I go deep. Like, not to drag on the conversation, but just one little example of me feeling like I operate in the mastery of studentry, of education, of learning. But, like, I got one of the first books I read by choice as an adult was the book of Malcolm X, the autobiography of Malcolm X.
Yes.
That woke me up, and then I'm saying like, well, what birthed that? Oh, his dad was a Garveyite. Oh, what is that? I'm looking up in that. I'm like, yo, what is this? This is what, these are we got the solutions.
Right.
So I'm like, let me pick up these blueprints and figure out how can I reactivate. Garvey was studying Booker T. Washington. Okay. Now I'm up from slavery, you know? If that's what Garvey read, that's what I'm reading.
Right.
So all of that got me into this nation mentality, you know, and I'm understanding that the answer is us creating our community, creating our society. No, people bring up Black Wall Street. Oh, well, they gonna buy. Man, look, they gonna have to come do whatever they gonna have to do. We gonna have to do what we gotta do. But to say we gonna lay down and not reestablish our own community, that's not even an option.
Not even happening.
Look, I said this at the event we had. Like, people hear these grand ideas and like, how you gonna do that? What? Man, look, sometimes I don't even know. Right. All I know is if I wake up today, I got another opportunity to take another step forward. So as long as I'm breathing and blood is running warm through my veins, the only option is to make this happen. So we on a divine mission. I'm taking on my abilities and responsibilities. And I appreciate y'all joining this wave and joining this allowing me to join. Well, you know, you feel me? And accepting me into this movement. And I'm going to do whatever, any and everything I can, you know, to make sure we only going to the highest levels, you know. So,
I got red kidney bean seeds.
Hey, look, he coming with the seeds. Look, that's what I'm talking about. I tell people, don't talk me to death. This is about that action.
Come with the
This
seeds.
is the action or item. You feel me? This is bigger than just water. This is live alkaline water, the best hydration in the nation, natural alkaline spring water, black-owned water from black-owned land, black indigenous family-owned farm, you know.
And let it be noted, civilization was always built around water, especially ours.
Right off the riverbank.
Right. You can literally build out a nation around this water supply because this is a commodity, you know what I mean, and one of the most coveted on the planet. But we know what it is, what it means to us. You know what I'm saying? This is naturally occurring alkaline water coming out of melanated land.
Facts. Straight from the source, straight from the spring.
So, yeah, you know, let's continue to build.
Rich crystal mineral-based land, no artificial induced processing to make it alkaline. Is God's very own, straight from the spring. But, and this the last drop. So, stay tuned. First off, you can go to heavyenergyuniversity.com. /live-alkaline to order the water. You can follow us on Instagram or Facebook at Live Alkaline NC and Soul Society NC, which is our nonprofit for community empowerment and youth mentoring, all about rebuilding the village mentality, rebuilding this collective community, and figuring out how we can all master our roles for the betterment of ourselves, our family, our community, and our nation. And so we're going to be doing top of the year. It's probably going to be February, the We Are the Gold campaign, which is all about us clarifying ourselves as the well-valuing solutions in the community that we've been looking for. Look no further. Look within. You know, we have everything we need, the knowledge, the talent, the resources, the ability, and now it's just time to pull together, harness our energy, our resources, our currency flow, controlling our black dollar. So one last little example I'm gonna drop in there is I'm looking at the numbers and whatnot. So I'm looking at my community where I'm coming from. I'm looking at the census. It's over 200,000 black people in the community. There was another study I was seeing, I think it was like from like 2019. They say in America we spend an average of $10 per month on bottle of water. So I'm looking like we got 200,000 black people in this county. $10 a month, that's $2 million. That's one industry. We're not even talking about multiple industries. We're not even talking about the state. We're talking about one county. It's like 10, 12 counties we operate in throughout North Carolina. It's over 1 million black people spending $10 a month on bottle. That's $10 million. When we try to figure out, well, what is this power that y'all speak of? That's one small example of the power we have. Imagine if we were harnessing this energy, this currency flow, and the things we've done with near to nothing, you know.
With nothing.
Imagine if we just had, and we're not even telling you just give us the money.
Right.
We are exchanging value with you.
Right.
You know,
Right.
we pushing you towards health and wellness.
That's right.
Towards a resource that's going to go back into a development of a community.
Right.
That we can call our own. You can come in and take part in your own sovereign free way. You know, of course we got standards. You know, of course we got rules and laws that we're going to abide by and respect with love, you know, but at the end of the day, if you coming with love, if you operating on that love frequency, we can build.
That's
you
right.
know?
All principles fall in place on that love.
Yeah, so, and like the other side of it is, this isn't even money we talking about if you gonna spend it or not. This ain't like clothing if you gonna buy it or not this month later. No, this money is being spent on a regular basis. Mm-hmm. The energy and that power is being used, but who's using it? Right. And for what? You know, so just think about that, you know. You know
what, too? I mean, not to stretch this out, but you're also speaking to incorruptible leadership. To be able to rise to that level, what we're discussing here requires, you know, we can't sell out.
Facts.
You know, there's not, I don't want to say there's not one organization, but you know, people are very distrusting of every government, organization, everything, church, whatever, every institution, because they've been let down so many times. I mean, the terrible damage that a lot of these ministers caused with the scandals in the church, the scandals in politics. People think that, oh, this guy got caught lying in politics, and they say, oh, well, we just threw him out. But you don't realize the damage that you caused amongst the people who don't trust their government now because you're not disciplined enough to, you know, not sleep with the secretary or steal the money or, you know, kill somebody even. You know, you're not disciplined enough to be there in that spot. Mm-hmm. And this speaks to the ladder we have to climb. Because when you're born king, you naturally see these things. And a born king is incorruptible. Mm-hmm. The original born king is, what they call it, infallible. That's what the Pope trying to be, infallible. No, you conduct yourself in such a character where even if you make an error, the community goes, he didn't mean to do that because that ain't his character. We done seen him for 35 years doing this. So, okay, so now if he get caught doing that, explain yourself because we know this ain't you right now. So we know, but that's infallibility. You gain that trust over years. We have to rise to that level. And I say this is the new revolution right here, because if we could rise to a level of incorruptibility where we have leadership that cannot be corrupted, which is where hip hop is right now. You know, believe it or not, those that lead hip hop right now are incorruptible. We don't bullshit. We're not sellouts. Okay, we done learned that lesson already. We're not doing that. I don't know how many other cultures are enjoying that. I don't know how many other, and when I'm talking about leadership of culture, leadership of ethnicities, leaderships in religious thoughts, leadership in things like sports, or, you know, things that create cultures in and of themselves, right? I don't see, most people don't trust any of the leadership of anybody's group, okay? Hip-hop has an opportunity to rise to an incorruptible level, meaning I don't want what you got. It's not like I got a discipline. He's gonna offer me $1 million to sell out, and I'm gonna take the million. We're past that. There's nothing you have that I want. And that's what our ancestors said to Christopher Columbus when he came. There's nothing you have that we want. There's no reason for you to be here. There's nothing that you have that we want. We're incorruptible. But then now the gun come out. Oh, well, now I got to kill, rob, rape, the bomb, the attack dog. Because now violence has to be the authority now.
Right, force.
As long as force, violence, that's what they rule by, violence and force. But the true kings are still the true kings. Look at the Declaration of Independence. U.S. Constitution. They say this clown wrote that. Thomas Jefferson and James Madison and George Washington had to come weigh in on it. These are criminals, okay? Right. They could not live up to the United States Constitution. This is not my opinion. Look at them and look at the Constitution. Look at the Declaration of Independence, and then look at the people that they said wrote it. You can see the truth in it right there. You did not write this because your character can't match it. The true people that wrote it, you put them on the plantation, you ran them off, sent them over to the West Indies and brought the West Indian people here. This is what you killed democracy upon arrival. You killed the rule of law upon arrival. But the true king is natural to humanity. When the king walks by, the flowers bloom. True king. When the born king, when the queen, when the kendake walks by, the birds start singing. We don't even know. We don't have this reality. Okay, because we're not noticing it. You walk down the street, you listen to police sirens. The birds are still chirping.
Right.
You can't hear them. Birds still chirping, but you don't speak their language no more. Why? So then that a bird don't respect you as the king no more. Now we all just animals eating us. Think about ancient humans and how animals were all over the planet, okay, eating everything. Okay, lions.
And we live in harmony with them.
How you figure? How do the pygmies talk to elephants? The pygmies, they talk to the elephant, and the elephant responds. Okay, where's this language? Where's this being? The true king, when the true king walks, the sea does open up. Nature responds to the true king, to the true queen. We were not born from other people. We're born from nature itself. The original people of the planet, the first people of the planet, are not born from other people. There's no other people. So where you come from? You first on the planet. Where you come from? You the first human. You don't come, everybody else come from us. Every other race, every other ethnicity come out of Africa. They got the African Eve theory going. They got genetic Eve going. They can trace everybody down to this one or a group of black women and la. No, not you. Nah. You don't come from other humans. You come from nature itself, from God itself. The intent of nature made us. Nature's intention made us. Now everybody else comes from us. They got you figure yourself out on that level, but ain't nobody before us. Think about that. There's no humans before us.
Right, no original.
There's no humans before us. We are the first humans. Homo sapiens sapient. Sapient means wise. Homo means man. Wise men. The Homo sapien, that's us. Okay? When we remember that, the universe remembers us. Because the universe is a mirror. The universe, the way you talk to the universe, the way it talk to you. The way you dance in front of the universe, the way it's going to dance to you.
Absolutely.
The way you act, the way you act to you. So the minute you submit to the universe, guess what? The universe submits to you.
Right. Look. So to wrap it up with that point, it's like I literally went from one day down to matter of fact, my 21st birthday to be exact. Mind you, I was fighting this battle of, starting to find myself a little bit and find some value in myself. But my 21st birthday was like the highest level where I was literally, I'm literally suicidal. I'm literally trying to find the highest building and seeing if it's high enough for me to jump off.
Wow.
Mind you, I'm up here like, damn, I can't do this. I can't hurt. I don't care about myself, but I can't do this to my family. You feel me? And if I'm going to choose life and my family live it till they... Oh, that was another part of the program where you had called out. Where I'm like ancestors, some of my elders live until 70, 80, 90 years old. I can't live like this.
Right.
And I literally decided from that day on to not care about what others think. I'm going to believe in myself. I'm going to do what pleases me. And every day that I'm here living, I'm claiming my power. I'm claiming my existence. I'm claiming my path and what resonates within my soul. So, like you were saying, you know, I decided that I wasn't nothing. I wasn't going to be nothing. And I'm going to be something. I'm going to be a powerful individual, you know. And from there on, I've been on this committed path, and through whatever the darkness comes with, through whatever way they try to knock me off the path, hey, we shake and keep it moving, you know.
We've proven it.
But yeah, it was ultimately the power of the mind. At the end of all of it, I think the power of the mind and soul to make up your mind, to fulfill your soul, and to do what you've been called to do, you know. And yeah, you know, apparently we can go on and on.
Obviously.
We're going to wrap this up.
Obviously.
Hey, go live to stay alive.
Straight
Go eat
up.
food, tap into the movement, and look, it's a 2020 Vision Talk, you know. Don't let this conversation leave right here, but carry this energy on. Live this. Develop some more studies around some of the information and things that were dropped throughout this conversation. As a master student, I'm looking back at the information. I'm going to do some more deep dives. I'm going to study some of the things that were referred to, and I'm going to do my part to carry on this energy to the highest level. Hey, shout out to 3 Milli Podcast. Appreciate y'all hosting us, allowing us to come in y'all space and build with y'all and have this build together. If you're in the Atlanta area, come tap in with the 3 Milli Podcast for that premium service, and straight like that. It was a powerful engagement. I appreciate y'all, brothers.
Thank you, man.
And it's only up from here.
Only up from here.
Mm-hmm.
Only up.
Hey, this the beginning. Stay tuned.
Yeah, they know my name. They know my
Peace and love, family.
Peace and love.
How y'all feeling today?
Right.
Well, look, all praise due to the Most High. Thank God for another day, the greatest day. And we greatly appreciate y'all coming in to tap in and build with us. And, you know, for those who weren't able to make it but are here in spirit, shout out to them. And we ain't got no time to waste no time, so we're going to get right into it. So this is a Declaration of Independence. Well, what is independence? Independence is our ability to be able to depend on ourselves for our well-being, our survival, and not just to survive, but to thrive. Without independence, there is no freedom. And without power, there is no independence. So how do we activate our power? Well, our power is first and foremost in the people, in the unity of the people. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad once said, our unity is more powerful than the atomic bomb. So, look, we in this mathematical scientific world, so we must move with purpose on purpose. So the formula for power is power equals work over time. So how much work can we get done over a certain amount of time? So our goal in February is to be able to harness the power and energy of 10,000 of our people through the We Are the Gold Challenge. The We Are the Gold 10,000 Strong Challenge is calling on 10,000 of our people to purchase at least $10 or more and drink live alkaline water. A black-owned water from black-owned land, straight from a natural alkaline water spring. Now that's power. That's our first step to freedom, independence, and activating our power.
Like a pastor, I know the truth. Like a hacker, might stir the pot. Like it's batter, done with the chatter. Time for the action. Wake up, wake up. I said, I lit the shit.